Okay, last night we finished off the collar, so I put it on her just to see what it would look like. And this is it. This is the collar with the bias tape. Here's the back. Here's where the zipper fits. And that's what it's going to look like. So see how I stopped there and there, came around. And you hardly have any puckers, or you may not have any puckers at all in your collar if you don't stretch your bias tape. Okay, so now we're going to, I just have her pinned on here. Now we're going to finish off the armholes, and we're going to pretty much do it the same way. The only difference with the armholes is we are going to not sew the side seams until we put the bias tape on. So we're going to do the exact same thing around the armholes that we did around the neckline. So what we're going to do is we're going to make little clips about 1/8 of an inch all the way around the armhole. And we're going to do this so that when we sew the bias tape on, we're sewing in a straight line and not around a curve. So just about 1/8 of an inch, just so you can ease in some of that some of those, so you don't get any puckers around the armholes. Let me get some better light in here. Okay, so let's see, where were we? We're about here, here, here. Okay, how are we doing here? Okay, so now when we sew, we still have that little bit of curvature, but enough, it's not too much so that we can't, I did some of these very narrow, you can't, that you won't be able to sew. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we got our bias tape out again. We've got our bias tape open. We are going to put this down so it is flapped over the side seam. And the reason we're going to do that is we're going to cut that flush. Once we sew this on, we're going to cut it flush with that side seam and enclose it in our seam. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to put my, on my regular machine, I'm going to check my needle position and go down into that trench again. So let's see if I'm going to fit. Yep, this one's perfect now. Okay, so let's go ahead and start sewing. Okay, take my needle out. This you're going to have to more than likely lift up your presser foot and move. And no pressure on the bias tape, pressure on the fabric. Okay, so try not to pull the bias tape. It's easier said than done. Okay, lift up, move it around. Okay, same thing. Don't pull your bias tape. You know why I'm having so much trouble? I'm sewing the wrong one. I didn't clip this side, I clipped the other side. What a nuthead. Okay, well, let's just hope it turns out all right. Couldn't figure out why I was having such resistance. Well, that's because I didn't clip this side. Alright, let's sew the other side with the clip side. If I got any puckers in there. Well, it turned out okay anyway, even without the... I just hope I have enough so I don't pucker the... I might have to take that out and redo that. Okay, let's do the side that I actually did clip. Okay, there we go. Here's this side. Okay, so hang over the edge. Open it up, put a pin in it. And this is the side we actually clipped. So this should be a lot easier to sew. I don't know what I was thinking there. I didn't even check it. Okay, so here we go. Let's try the number 2. I gotta put my thread back on. That makes that noise. It's because I need to rethread my machine. Okay, so let's go ahead, and now that we've got this side already clipped, this is going to be a breeze to sew. So let's just pull this out and sew. Okay. Okay, so now we're at the very end, so we're going to turn around the corner here and try not to pull your bias tape. Okay. Alright, so this was the side we clipped. So now when we turn this over, it should be, I'm going to reclip the armholes. So let's go ahead and get that nice and clipped down to the seam. Clip your bias tape too, and just go all the way across. You don't have to go in the same clips you did before, it doesn't matter. Okay, so here. I'm going all the way to the seam. Okay, so now we're going to turn it, put a pin in it. Okay, work from the center down, because then you can always ease in your bias tape towards the end. Okay, now we're on the right side, so you can go ahead and stretch your bias tape if you need to. Okay, so bring it right up flush to the edge of your seam here. Okay, stretch it a little bit if you need to. So let's put that down there. And we're going to sew from the right side. So there's one side down. Okay, let's do the other one. As you pull on that bias tape, it sort of just smooths out your seam in the front anyway, so make that flush. Okay, so see how when we finish sewing that, we'll just cut this flush with the seam, and that will catch that in our side seam. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so now we can go ahead and sew a top stitch around our sleeve. We're going to check it from the front to make sure that we're tucked in enough on this bias tape. We don't want too much of it to show towards the front. Okay, make sure that you're not going to have any puckers in it when you go to sew. So smooth anything out that you see that you're not going to want to sew. Okay, so that is our arm. Okay, so let's do the same thing. We're going to do a 1/4 inch around, and we are just going to go just like that. Backspace, back stitch. Okay, so let's just sew. Take your pin out. Make sure there's going to be no puckers in your sewing. Okay, when you get to a pin, take it out. Turn your fabric. Too much bias tape showing on that, and it's the front too. Oh well. The nice thing about this colored bias tape, it'll match the skin tone. Okay, let's make sure we don't have any puckers here. Lift. Okay, and that is the shoulder seam, inside and outside. So you might want to do a little bit better on your tucking your bias tape down. Uh-oh, I did get a little pucker here. Let's see if I can finger fix it. Yep, okay, yeah, I just smoothed it out. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to take your remaining bias tape on the edge here, and you're just going to cut it flush with the seam. Okay, just like that. And the other one's already been cut flush with the seam. So now we're just going to put in our side seam. So match that up, put in your side seam, and then you can well, let's just go ahead and do it. And then you can either use your serger or do an overlock, and you're pretty much done. Well, the only thing left is to put in your hem on the bottom. Okay, so just go ahead and put in your side seam. So let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to trim that down. I'm going to do the overlock, and that is basically the whole tunic. So I'm just going to fix the other side of the sleeve, and I'm going to overlock this, and that is the tunic. I'll come back and show you it's the finished result. But that's how simple that is. So yeah, I gotta fix this, see if I can get away with just clipping that and turning it. I don't see any puckers in there. So you can do it without clipping, but you saw how much easier it is when you do the actual clipping to get that bias tape sewn in there. Okay, so I'll be back as soon as I finish the sleeve, the side seam, and put in a hem.